Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for coming this evening. We're going to begin with the concert band program. Actually, is most of it is a larger work. So we're actually going to begin with a piece that is a very atypical concert opener. This is actually called Highlander Lullaby. It's pretty, and for whatever reason, we generally never start with like slow lyrical pieces. But I hope you enjoy. This is Highlander Lullaby. One of the ongoing things that we've been talking about is what pursuing excellence means, and this providing a template of excellence for these musicians. And I think one of the things that sometimes gets lost is just how high of a level musicians have to succeed, have to execute, even for music to start to sound recognizable. Like, you all know what a scale sounds like, yes? So I'm going to ask this band to play a concert B-flat major scale, okay? And I'm just going to, it's not really an experiment because we've done this in class. We're going to say that an A minus is like 90%. So what I'm going to say is that every student basically gets to make one mistake on this scale, okay? So every student's going to make a mistake, but we're still going to play the concert B-flat major scale. You all have that perfect scale in your head? Okay, one mistake, only one. We'll just play it once. Ready, and go. Let's check this out. Let's do B. Okay, they all make 2 mistakes. Set, and go. This up. What happens actually if we only play 50%? Okay? Your classic F. This is what our F sounds like. 50%. Ready? Set and go. So we talk about that. We talk about like what excellence means, right? And I think it's important to recognize that what these students are achieving on their instrument, it's not about the instrument. Right? They can take that passion and that understanding of what it means to be excellent, what it means to practice, what it means to have to do something over and over and over again, and practicing not until we get it right, but until we can't get it wrong. And if they apply that to everything they do in life, like it is not a surprise at all why musicians tend to be highly coveted in any kind of like career path, that sort of thing. This is what our best B flat major scale. I'll cleanse your ear. This is what our best B flat major scale sounds like. Everyone going at it, best you can. Ready, set, and go. It's important to recognize that the instrument truly is just an instrument, right? The skills, the values, the dispositions that we're teaching go way beyond the B-flat major scale and just simply go into how students, how human beings pursue excellence. And I think that that's worth sharing. I've been trying to put a little bit of snippets in my email, as well as I put something in the program as well, just about the value of music and the high level of just success that our students achieve in school. It's incredible. I had a hypothesis, and if you didn't read my email, that the entire GPA, and I didn't do concert band. There are a lot of freshmen in concert band, and they don't have GPAs yet, because that just hasn't happened. This is the first time that they've ever gotten grades, so they're still working towards that. But in wind ensemble, the average, when I averaged out all of the GPAs, it was 3.87. The entire group. Yeah. And these are the students that are going to come on stage later, the students that are behind me. They're going to take the work that they do here, but they're not necessarily going to be musicians. They're going to be doctors. They're going to be teachers. They're going to be, what are you going to be, Gwen? An aerospace engineer. They're going to do all these awesome things. And just being informed by the excellence that they achieved in music, which is so cool. And one of the cool things about my job, I had a former student that came back. She said she was working on jets. And I said, oh, you mean like for like Boeing or something like that? She's like, well, U.S. military. And I said, oh, that's cool. Like which one? And she's like, the F-35. And I'm like, I've heard of that one. That's supposed to be like new and cool. And she's like, yeah. And I said, can you tell me like, what are you working on? And she's like, no, I can't tell you that. And I'm like, well, is it like in the cockpit or in the engine? She's like, something in between. Like, holy cow, right? But the things that they do are really, really cool. And I do have to believe that when they surround themselves with that level of excellence all the time, that definitely rubs off on them, and it makes a big difference in terms of what they achieve in school, period. So we're going to do a piece that needs just a little bit of explanation. It's a symphony, and the composer actually wrote the last part that we're going to play. He actually wrote that first. And then it was requested, like, could you write more like this? And so he actually developed a 5-movement symphony. And we're going to be playing 3 of those 5 movements. And it all kind of deals with kind of like dark fairy tale, make-believe, that kind of stuff. But it's been super fun to do, I think, at this time of year, just because it seems to kind of conjure up like a Halloween kind of vibe. So this is Randall Standridge's Darklands Suite, or Darklands Symphony. And we're going to be doing Dance on the Mad Prince. We're going to be doing The Serpent Priest and the Black Bell. And then we're also going to be doing Escape from Darkland Castle. So those 3 movements. And then this will complete our program for concert band for the evening, and then we'll get a wind ensemble up. All right, so this is Darklands Symphony. Thank you. That's a lot of music for an opener. 3 movements. And that piece specifically is something that Vaughan Williams was writing at a time that countries all across Europe were enjoying nationalism. And that word kind of meant something maybe a little bit different 100 years ago than it means today. But it was taking pride in their country. And specifically what he's using is folk songs that came from England. In fact, one of the ideas that he had is like, let's write like a classical work similar to a symphony or something like that, but let's just use music of the people. It would be no different than a composer today going to like downtown Chicago, walking around, just kind of writing down the kind of things that he's hearing people humming in the street, and then using that as the themes for like a major piece. That was like pretty cutting edge 100 years ago, and I actually feel like it would be pretty cutting edge today as well. And connected to that in terms of a folk song, this is an early folk song that Percy Grainger, and he liked to catalog these things. He would just walk around, and it wasn't like with a recorder like we have now, and he had to like wind it up, right? And he would hear these people sing. And so this is something that literally comes from County Derry in Ireland, and so this is typically what's called like County Derry air, or sometimes it's called Londonderry air. When it had words attached to it, it became Danny Boy. But that all hadn't been invented yet, and Grainger's just simply called it Irish tune. That's it, just Irish tune, and then sometimes it says from County Derry. So we're going to play Grainger's Irish tune from County Derry. You'll recognize the melody because it's Danny Boy, all right? Our last piece just wraps this all up. Katash Copley's Halcyon Hearts is literally a piece that he writes just dedicated to love, and not necessarily love like romantic love, but just love of humankind, love of each other, regardless of nationality, race, creed, any of that. And so he does just a great way of kind of bringing this all together. You're going to hear the music in 3 beats per measure. You're going to hear the music in 2 beats per measure at the same time. And it's really cool what he does. And again, just a really, really not so subtle way to be like, regardless of our differences, regardless of what that may be, bringing it all together so that we just simply love, that we simply respect, and that we simply treat all humanity with the grace, the love that they deserve. So this is Halcyon Hearts by Katash Copley. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. Culver's is open for another hour.